Today I'd like to talk with you about the abdominal area of the body, also sometimes referred to as the core. The reason it's called the core is because it supports and stabilizes your body as you participate in almost every activity throughout the day. When you think of the abdominal area, one of the first exercises that might pop into your mind is called the abdominal crunch. So let's start with that. The abdominal crunch could sometimes be confused with the sit-up. So let's look at the difference. With the sit-up, you move your body through the entire range of motion as you sit up. Where when you do the abdominal crunch, the goal is to only bring your body up far enough to bring your shoulder blades and your shoulders up off the floor, and the direction of your movement is more up toward the ceiling rather than moving up forward toward your knees. So when you do the abdominal crunch, one of the hand positions that you might see most often is with the hands clasped, with the fingers clasped behind the head or the fingers supporting the head from behind. The main advantage of this is that you're supporting the weight of your head, and if you're not used to holding your body in this type of position, the front of your neck can tire out quite quickly if you don't have that support. But the thing to keep in mind is that there's a danger of doing some damage to the vertebrae up in the upper area of your neck. This is called the cervical area of the spine, and this happens when people tend to pull or jerk their head forward as they come up. So remember to not do any pulling or jerking on your head at all. The only reason you have your hand behind your head is to support your head and give your arms a moderate placement in the range of your body. So to do this exercise, you just lay flat on the floor with your fingers back of your head, supporting the weight of your head as you slowly pull your body up, high enough to bring your shoulder blades up off the ground. Hold the position for a couple of seconds and lower yourself back down. Back up to the up position, hold it for a few seconds, and come on back down again. When you do this kind of an exercise, you're mainly focusing on the upper half of the abdominal area. In order to elicit the bottom half of the abdominal area, you might try exercises such as the straight leg lift, where you bring both of your straight legs up and bring your hips up off the ground. You might also sometimes see scissors, where each leg alternates in being raised and lowered without the foot actually making contact with the floor. The problem with doing those types of exercises is that they really bring into activity the sphincter muscle at the top of the leg, which can sometimes tire out even before the lower abdomen starts to get tired. One way around that is to bring your feet up close to your butt and let your knees drop off to the sides. In this way, you're not going to be bringing the sphincter muscles as much into activity as you do the lift. From here, you just simply go through the same motion of bringing your legs up with your hips raised up off the ground and back down again, and bringing your legs back up and letting them come back down again. Now, when you're doing these kinds of exercises, what you're working is the central part of the abdominal area. To start working the muscles that lie just outside of that area into contraction, what you want to try and do is, as you do your crunch, you would go ahead and do a twisting motion as you come up. So as you come up, you twist from side to side. You could do the same type of thing with your lower body and working the lower part of your abdomen by going ahead and letting your knees drop down to the side and just going ahead and picking your legs up from the same type of way that you would if you were doing the leg lifts, only this time you're twisting off to the side, which is going to bring the side muscles of the abdomen more into contraction. One of the best rated exercises of any exercise for eliciting as much muscle contraction as possible with all of the different muscles in the abdominal area is called the bicycle. To do the bicycle, as it sounds, your legs are going through a bicycle pumping motion while you bring your elbows up to cross over and touch the opposite knee as it comes up. By doing this, you're both working the lower abdomen and the upper abdomen, and you're bringing in the internal obliques as well as you cross from side to side. Another way you can hold your arms is by keeping your elbows down to the side, and you can do this either with the legs or without, and you can see that I can get much more rotation, and I'm also assisting and supporting my body weight as I roll up to the side. And you can incorporate this kind of movement with the bicycle as well. And that will give you a really great all-around movement. Now, another thing you might do to really bring in a little bit more of the external obliques is just go ahead and pretend that you're sitting up from side to side. So I roll my legs over and notice I'm coming up on my elbow, so it's supporting my weight as I come up. Because if you're not in, pretty good shape in your abdominal area, it's hard to hold your weight up without the support. So by using your elbow, you can go ahead and just be getting a real good elicitation of the contraction of the muscles on the outside of the middle of the abdomen as you just roll up as if you were sitting up to stand up. Another one of the high-rated exercises when you're looking at abdominal exercises is called the plank. To start in the plank, I start in what I call the child watching TV position. It's kind of like a child laying in front of a television watching a cartoon or something. So then what you do is you plant your toes into the ground behind you, supporting your body on your elbows and your forearms, and you simply raise your butt up and go into a straight plank position. And very quickly, because of the way that the body is supporting the weight, you'll feel the tension start to build up in the abdominal area. Another thing you can do is go up into what would be the start of a push-up position and just hold the plank from this position as well. It doesn't give quite the stress to the abdomen of being in the lower plank, but the advantage of being in this position is the range of motion that you can go through while you're in it. So you can drop your butt down without actually resting the weight on the floor, and then push your butt up. So you're going through much more of a range of motion that is somewhat duplicating what you go through with the crunch or a sit-up. And as opposed to the crunch or especially the sit-up, this also takes a lot of the pressure off of the lower back that you might experience. But definitely this plank is the harder of the two exercises and one that you might want to try. Another thing that you can do to work all the way out to the external obliques, which are the muscles that lie out to the side of your body, is to go ahead and do that same kind of plank motion, only you're laying on your side when you do it. So you lay on your side, your weight is going to be supported on the side of your foot. Same thing with your elbows and your forearms as with the regular plank, and you just simply go up into a plank position. And you hold that position. You can do some motions to be able to increase the range a little bit, but that's not necessary. You can keep the weight of your arm off of your body and just let your arm rest off to your side. You can also push yourself up into a one-armed plank position and hold that position, and again get kind of a range of motion while you're working those muscles on the sides of the abdomen. Another muscle that we'll go through, one that is usually neglected when you're looking at abdominal workouts, is called the transverse abdominis. And what this muscle does, and I'll turn to the side so that you can see it a little bit better, is it draws the surface of the stomach toward the spine. So you're actually bringing the stomach in, there's the regular position, and then you can see I'm actually bringing the surface of the stomach, the belly button on up to the rib cage, and actually bringing it, drawing it in toward the spine, and that's the job of the transverse abdominis. It's not the same as when you let your breath out and your stomach naturally falls if you're doing the belly breathing that's recommended by most professionals. And it's not a matter of just contracting the muscles of your stomach. You are actually drawing the stomach in. Has nothing to do with your breathing. You can go ahead and breathe naturally while you do this, and you can go ahead and go through a number of different motions while you have this stomach in this position where these muscles are pulling the surface back toward the spine. Very important to keep the abdominal area healthy, because it is an imbalance between the strength of the abdominal region and the lower back that often is responsible for a lot of the back injuries that are seen today. And again, it stabilizes and supports you through almost everything you do when you're on your feet and moving around. So I hope this has given you some information that might be helpful in helping you to develop your own exercise program to tone and strengthen the muscles of the abdominal region. Healthfully yours, Scott Beardsley.